Our next speaker is Mr. Charles Wilkerson, who's going to be talking about God's teachers. El siguiente facilitador es el profesor Charles Wilkerson, que nos va a hablar acerca de los maestros de Dios.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles. I am a member of Unity on the Bay, Curso Milagros group that meets on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. The first thing that I would like to say is that I will be doing more reading than speaking. It is my belief the course speaks for itself. Whatever I tell you is my opinion, and everybody has their opinion and their interpretation of the course. As I've been studying the course, my awareness has grown and changed, and it seems as I read the course over time, it seems to always becomes like a little rewritten. I want to start out with a story. Existence was so tranquil and peaceful for the young couple, Adam and Eve, like straight out of a storybook, until one unfortunate day when Adam showed up 1 hour late for supper. By the time Adam finally came home, Eve was a nervous wreck, and her imagination was working overtime. "Honey, what happened? Why are you so late?" questioned Eve. "Oh, I'm sorry," Adam responded with a wave of his hand. He blew it off. "I just lost track of time." Now, Eve did not have a mother or a girlfriend to calm her nerves. And after all, it was her husband, and despite Adam's convincing act, her overactive imagination could not be calmed. That night, after 2 hours of tossing and turning, she had enough. "What are you doing?" screamed Adam, jumping out of bed. "You know darn well what I'm doing," Eve screamed right back. "Now lay right down and let me finish counting your ribs." The purpose of this story shows what the ego does. My problem is you. If I have a problem, it's my imagination and it's what I perceive you've done to me. The role of the manual for teachers in the introduction says, the role of teaching and learning is actually reversed in thinking of the world. I have to slow down a little bit with my reading because the interpreters in the back need us to read a little slower so they can translate. The reversal is characteristic. It seems as if the teacher and the learner are separated. The teacher giving something to the learner rather than to himself. Further, the act of teaching is regarded as a special activity in which one engages only in a relatively small portion of one's time. The course, on the other hand, emphasizes that to teach is to learn, so that the teacher and the learner are the same. It also emphasizes that teaching is a constant process. It goes on every moment of the day and continues into sleeping thoughts as well. I also found something on the internet. It's from a lecture that was given by Kim Wapnick at the Foundation for a Course of Miracles Center in California. And it in his lecture, he says, the phrase, a teacher of God, does not appear anywhere in the text or the workbook at all, and it is used only in the manual. Basically, a teacher of God is anyone who has accepted his or her function, which is to teach and to learn forgiveness. The Course says the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. At the moment that we accept that as why we are here, we become a teacher. The Course repeatedly equates teaching and learning. We teach what we are learning, and as we teach it, we learn it. We are all teaching and we are learning at the same time. In the manual, it says, a teacher of God is anyone who chooses to be one. His qualifications consist solely on this. Somehow, somewhere, he has made a deliberate choice in which he did not see his interests as apart from someone else's. The principal criteria that establish one as a teacher of God is that he sees his joining, not his separation, as reality. We see the Course, and obviously this is meant not intellectually but experientially by learning forgiveness lessons. So we're here to practice forgiveness with each other. I'm here to forgive you, you're here to forgive me. I'm here to forgive any expectations I may have of you. I learn by my compare and contrast what I understand about you. If it brings me frustration, irritation, aggravation, anything that is not peaceful, at that moment, you become my teacher, and I get to practice forgiveness. If I practice forgiveness by choosing to see the light in you, I transform that relationship from a special relationship to a holy relationship. The Course is about transforming all of our relationships. It allows me to take whatever relationship I am in and transform it from a special to a holy relationship. So I will see that learning through forgiveness, it doesn't matter what form the forgiveness looks like or doesn't look like, because I individually can't judge what forgiveness is going to look like. I am going to be in line at Publix, and my ego is going to tell me, and my ego always does tell me, I always get the longest, slowest line, and the cashier always seems to get the register that breaks. So that's my time to practice forgiveness. And what happens is I go back to Publix and I practice forgiveness and everything's fine. And what happens is there's a problem with the customer in front of me whose debit card doesn't seem to work. So I get another opportunity to practice. I can't judge what forgiveness is going to look like. It's my job to practice again and again. My job is to know when I'm not at peace and to learn to move to peace. Kim Rocknick also says, but in this world there are differences. And so Jesus in the Course is basically saying to us, I am no different from you in eternity, but in time I am different because I am wiser than you are, because I have awakened from the dream. And now I will reach back and help everyone else awaken from that same dream. Within time, there are differences, but we are not asked to deny the differences. The idea would be that we are not to make judgments based upon the differences. Because Jesus has already awakened from the dream does not mean that he is any better than anyone else or that God loves him more. It simply means that he loves himself more at this point in time than we love ourselves. But those differences disappear when the ego disappears. The same idea is expressed when Jesus says, "You are not guiltless in time, but in eternity." That's in the text from chapter 13. In the world of time, which is the world of illusion, the world of the dream, we are all guilty. Otherwise, we would not be here. But that is not our true reality in heaven, which we are all in heaven now at peace. We are all the same in heaven. In the world, we are not the same. In the manual, section 4, it says, "These special gifts, born in the holy relationship toward which teaching and learning situation is geared, become characteristics of all teachers of God who have advanced in their own learning. In this respect, they are all alike." So life itself is like going to one of those psychological or psychiatric workshops. And this is just a highly individualized workshop. The teacher is the person that is causing your grievance. If you are at peace, you are the light of the situation. So you are like the leader or the facilitator of the workshop. And the pamphlet psychotherapy, in the section limits of psychotherapy, it says, "Therapy begins with the realization that healing is of the mind." And in psychotherapy, those have come together who already believe this. It may be they will not get much further, for no one learns beyond his own readiness, yet levels of readiness change. And when the therapist or the patient has reached the next one, there will be a relationship held out to them that meets the changing need. Ideally, the psychotherapy is a series of holy encounters in which brothers meet to bless each other and to receive the peace of God. This will one day come to pass for every patient on the face of earth. For who except a patient could possibly be here? The therapist is only a somewhat more specialized teacher of God. He learns through teaching, and the more advanced he is, the more he teaches and the more he learns. But whatever stage he is in, there are patients who need him in just that way. They cannot take more than he can give for now, yet both will find sanity at last. And that brings me to another story. There was this old man who went to the doctor complaining that his wife could barely hear. The doctor suggested a test to the old man to find out the extent of the problem. Stand behind her, far back, and ask her a question. Then slowly move up to her and see when she first responds. The old man was excited to finally find a solution to the problem and runs home to see his wife preparing supper. "Honey," the man asked, standing about 20 feet away, "what's for supper?" After receiving no response, he tried again, 15 feet away. Again, no response. Then, 10 feet away, he again asked, no response. Finally, at 5 feet away, he asked, "Honey, what's for supper?" She looks up, turns to him, and replies, "For the 4th time, it's lasagna." The Course teaches that we are all teachers and students at the same time, and we have the teachers and the lessons that we need right in front of us. So that's it. Thank you very much.